Solving equations with fractions. So remembering our rules, we must have an equal sign. The equation must always be balanced. That means whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you must do to the other side of the equal sign. You must have a reason for taking action. And our goal is to get the pronumeral on one side by itself. So equations with fractions. Here we have x over 6 minus 1 equals 3. Now you start with the term that isn't connected to the x. Okay, so we have x over 6 minus 1. So the minus 1 is on its own. The 6, x is being divided by 6, so we're going to leave it alone for now. Okay, we're going to start with the minus 1. Now minus 1, if you do the opposite to that, we're going to plus 1, and we must do it to both sides of the equal sign. So now we have x divided by 6, which we haven't changed, so x over 6, minus 1 plus 1 is 0, equals 3 plus 1 is 4. Now you can see that all I have is x divided by 6, or x over 6. Now the opposite of a division is a multiplication. So we're going to multiply both sides by 6. X over 6 times 6 just equals 6. Sorry, just equals x. So x divided by 6, if I multiply that by 6, it just equals x. And then 4 times 6 is 24. So x equals 24. You can check this by substituting what you think x equals into the initial equation. So you would have x equals 24, so you'd have 24 over 6 minus 1 equals 3. 24 over 6 is 4, minus 1 equals 3. And we know that 4 minus 1 is 3, so 3 equals 3. So you can perform a little check with all of these equations to check if you are correct. Our next example is x plus 7 all over 4 equals 8. Now this one is different to our first one because this time the positive 7 is in the fraction as well. So I can't get to that 7 until I get rid of the fraction. So here we're going to deal with the fraction first. So I have x plus 7 all divided by 4 equals 8. So because this is being divided by 4, the opposite of that is multiplied by 4. So x plus 7 divided by 4 multiplied by 4 just cancels out the fraction. So you end up with x plus 7 equals, and 8 times 4 is 32. Now this is very similar to the other video we did on solving equations. From this step on, we know we have x plus 7. So to get rid of that positive 7, we do the opposite, which is minus 7. And once again, you always have to do it to both sides. So now we have x, because we haven't done anything to the x, plus 7 minus 7 is 0, equals 32 minus 7 is 25. You could do a check here if you wanted to, and you can quickly do a check on your calculator if you're not sure. So our next example, 3x minus 1 all over 5 equals 7. Once again, we have this whole fraction. So we need to get rid of the fraction before we can get to the negative 1. And the way we get rid of a fraction, which is a division, is we multiply. So we're going to multiply by 5 and multiply by 5. So 3x minus 1 all divided by 5 multiplied by 5 will just equal 3x minus 1. And then 7 times 5 is 35. Now we have 3x minus 1 equals 35. So we need to get rid of that negative 1. So we're going to plus 1. And once again, we have to do it to both sides. So now we have 3x minus 1 plus 1 is 0 equals 35 plus 1 is 36. Now 3x equals 36. So that's 3 times x. So we're going to divide by 3. And we will have 3x divided by 3 is 1x, or x. And 36 divided by 3 is 12. So x equals 12. Once again, you could substitute the 12 in for x in the original equation, and you could check your working. Okay, let's do some further examples with fractions. So here we have 3x over 5 minus x over 4 equals 1. So remembering, whatever we do to one side of the equal sign, you have to do it to the other side of the equal sign. If you have more than one term on one side of the equal sign, you need to do it to both of those terms when it comes to multiplying and dividing. So here I have 3x over 5 minus x over 4 equals 1. So to get rid of the fraction here of 3x over 5, I'm going to multiply by 5. And whatever I do to one side of the equal sign, I have to do to the other. But I also have to do it to this other term. Okay, the x over 4 term. I have to do it to that as well. So now we're going to have 3x minus x times 5 is 5x over 4 equals 5. Now I've got rid of one of my fractions. Now I need to get rid of the other fraction. And 5x over 4 is a division, so we would multiply by 4. So I'll multiply by 4. But you also need to multiply the other terms on that side and the other side of the equal sign. So now we're going to have 3x times 4, which is 12x, and then we have 5x over 4 times 4, so that's just going to be negative 5x, equals 5 times 4, which is 20. So now we have 12x minus 5x. We can simplify that to 7x equals 20. Now 7x is the same as 7 times x, so we're going to divide by 7. And if you divide both sides by 7, 7x divided by 7 is x, and 20 divided by 7 is 20 over 7. Now once again, you could substitute what you think x equals back into your equation, which is quite easily done on your calculator, and you can check that your answer is correct.